So I just got done listening to like the personality hacker podcast thingy, which I haven't really listened to a ton of their stuff, but I liked what I heard so far. And they introduced me to this book by
Dario Nardi.
Yeah. So the idea that your dominant function is the function that gets into, like, when you're in flow, your dominant function is the one that's in flow, and that any is the hardest to get into flow, but it maintains itself the longest. So, like, what do you mean?
That's not it. It's that it requires the most energy overall, so it's the hardest to get into a state of flow, and it's the shortest.
Well, it can maintain, like the example was an ENTP can be, and it's often like bastardized. ENTPs will use bastardized techniques to get in. They will put shit off to the last second, and then it'll like 11th hour, it'll get us into like back up against the wall. It'll become clear, and then fucking shit'll kick in, and then we can work for like 24 hours straight in flow. I find that to be true.
That's because we do speed.
No, I mean, okay, you're saying causality. I guess it's looking at, I think both things can be true.
Okay, well, look, I remember states when I did go into a state of extended flow before I ever did it. They were rare, few and far between. And when they did happen, it was like, fuck yeah, I got so much done in 3 hours. I have got more done in 3 hours than I normally get done in 9 hours. It was like that. And here's the reason why it is. Because it's called Christmas tree brain, according to his MRI studies, this guy Dario Nardi. He calls any Christmas tree brain because the MRI scans show that while all the other functions are localized, they're subject to what's called small world systems phenomena. Small world systems means that for almost all systems of complexity, they're structured a similar way. There are nodes that function as independent, like cities, and there are multiple nodes, some of which are entirely redundant, and there's some which are overlappingly redundant, and that the strength of the connection is always stronger between the closer two nodes are, and weaker the further away. So that to be really good at a cognitive function is to be good like at a neighborhood in a city, okay? And so that means you really know the streets around this part of the woods, and you know your streets less well the further distant they are from your home neighborhood. However, any is the exception. Any takes little bits from all the different neighborhoods and doesn't really have a home-based neighborhood. And it is not subject to the small world systems phenomenon in that our long-distance connections are much stronger than most people's, and our short-distance connections are much weaker than most people's. So it's the one exception in that regard, NE. It's the reverse of the normal standard small world systems model. And, of course, one would expect that to be the case. That if you have a small world systems model, the fact that it's a distinct model means that there's some exception to define it, and NE would be that exception in the cognition forum, anyway.
Well, it explains a lot with why work's been pissing me off so fucking much. Because my NE has not been able to play, and I'm not really my back really isn't up against the wall except for my own standard and frustrations. Even though my FE is promising a fuck ton to people. But today, I hired an ISFJ assistant. He talked to her for 3 hours, and that got me into a fucking flow state.
Hold on, the fucking garbage men are here, and they're being super, super loud outside.
Alright, I gotta find my wrap anyway. I'm trying to smoke, and I can't find my
fucking garbage men. I fucking hate the trash truck. I, 'cause, 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 ' Okay, hurry up.
Shit. God damn it.
If you want to be my lover, you gotta give it my friends. Thank you, Cameron. That's excellent background vocals. I like that.
That was the actual words to the song, too.
I know. Okay.
Fuck. Oh, it's so annoying. Where did that go? I had it. 3 seconds. Fucking shit. God damn. I'll tell you what. Fucking motherfucking shit. Where's my fucking
This app's not working right now. Whatevs, I don't care. Let's see here. Oh, I wanted to get that other thing too.
I'm thinking to make a bong, it would take... It's gonna take 2 things of equal size that are like a ½ inch apart. So like a couple of bottles, like, can you think of any soda bottles or water bottles that taper at the top with a nice long taper?
I had a Coke bottle, but I think I threw it away here somewhere, probably. Probably in the trash can.
I'm thinking something like that would be a good start. But yeah, we want to have the most minimum joints. Oh yeah, like a 12 ounce Coke inside of a 2-liter Coke, or something like that. Yeah, it might take some time to get the pieces, unless we were to like make it out of cardboard and like reinforce it with tape and shit. But yeah, it's gonna be a big, extremely heavy thing to like have around. So yeah, I don't want to push it on you. It's gonna be like in the way.
Sometimes one does need a weight for something. Like, I wish we had something really heavy to keep this tarp down and not blowing away. That kind of thing. But